channel. If you're new here, you may not know that I'm a policy lawyer, author, parenting coach, and I do so many things. And one thing I always wonder is how can we be all that God has called us to be and still raise amazing children? That's why we're here today and we're having this conversation with Chioma. Now, I have a special guest who is also a parenting coach, and her name is Marybeth, who I also, well, not just I, everyone actually, and she also calls herself the mentor mom. So I'm going to be talking to her on today's edition. So don't forget to share, subscribe, and like. Hi, Marybeth.
Hi.
It's good to have you here. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Awesome. So please tell me in a nutshell, who is Marybeth?
All right, you've just called me the mentor mom, so
Yes.
that's one part of it. So
Yes.
I am a mother of 2 amazing children. I'm an author and an educator. In a nutshell.
Awesome. So one thing that you know why I love what you do, and you speak about the mentor mom, and I speak about it a lot, is that we need to model for our children. They look up to us and they want to be like us in so many ways. Even as we grow, we find ourselves doing things that our mothers did and our fathers did, and we're like, that's just looks. It's uncanny. How are we able to raise our children? Be that mentor to them and actually raise them right. So we're seeing children that will be proud of our children, and we are acting in ways that they will be proud of us as well.
Yeah. Basically, it takes being intentional.
Yes.
That's the truth about it. Because truth is, whether you are mentoring, whether you are, you like it or not, your children see what you do. Your children are emulating what you're doing.
Very true.
So, if you call yourself a mentor parent or not, you are one. That's it. So, knowing this, then the question you should ask yourself as a parent is, what do I want to see in my children? What do I want my children to pick from me? What do I want to see my children? What standards do I want them to live by?
Right.
So if you can think of this and you can create that vision or see that picture, then it means you should bring yourself to that point where you're intentional about it. So every day you wake up, put it at the back of your mind that whatever you say, whatever you do, however you do it, these children are watching you, and they see more of what you do than hear what you say. So sometimes as parents, we want to think, I can do as I like, but then I'll still have those pep talks with them, and I'll tell them, do this, do that, and then you're doing a different thing. So no, they see you more than they hear you. So being a mentor parent for me is waking up every day and reminding myself that I have people who are looking up to me. I have people who are copying me. They are copycats. That's what they are, children. I have people who are basically going to walk in the shoes that I take my foot off. So because of that, for every time that I speak, I'm like this. For every time that I act, I'm like this. So let's say I'm driving. As I'm driving, the way, drivers can be annoying, especially in Abuja, right? And you want to shout. I just say to myself, oh yeah, calm down. Calm down, Somebody's watching. So because you do that consistently, or you're conscious about that, you realize it ends up changing you as an individual.
I love it.
So yes, because at every point, I can't remember, I can't remember yelling at a driver. I can't remember saying anything while I'm driving. When you're done, I'll just be like, and then I continue. So sometimes I don't even cast the sideward glance, no matter what happens when I'm driving. But I don't do this. I just focus, because if I do that, then I probably will be dragged into, because sometimes you hear someone do worker and you're like,
back.
What?
You talk about that. It's interesting. There's this thing I can never forget. I was leaving church it was first service, so people were going to church, second service, and there was this man going to church. Either he had just left or he was coming. I think he had just left. Somebody was just coming, and there was a small incident, and they got into a fight, as in tearing shirts. And I saw that children were in the car, and I was like, wow. Tomorrow, if your child is fighting with the neighbor and tearing shirts, what do you want to say about don't fight or whatever? Because like you said, it's not about what you're saying, so much as of what you are doing, what they see you do. And I think it's very important for us to have that in our consciousness, that look, these children are looking at us, they are watching us, everything we do. But one thing someone was asking, that doesn't that mean that you're pretending and you can't really be who you are? What's your answer to that?
The truth about it is life is about, I mean, when you come to that point as a parent,
Yes.
right? When you
Yes.
decide to have children. I say if parenting doesn't change you, you've not started.
Very
That's the truth
true,
about
very
it. If
true.
parenting doesn't change you, you are not ready. You know, it's just that, especially in this part of the world, we don't stop to think before we have children. You know, we don't stop to prepare ourselves mentally, psychologically, and every other way. So we just go in, I've seen the person, I must get married, I'm 26, hey, married. So you get to that point and you're shaking. The next thing you get married. Then automatically, now I'm married, the next is to have children. So you have children and all of that.
And you're not prepared.
You know, you're not prepared. So if we stop, you know, we should have parenting schools. Like we should have parenting schools where people go and roll in, you know, do all of that before you actually have children.
Honestly.
So yes, when you have children, if you're being realistic, if you're being intentional, then you would know that there are some baggages you are carrying that you have to drop. So that's not pretending, if you ask me.
It's not.
You just
like
simply,
you said, you become a better version
you
of
just
yourself.
become conscious of the fact that you have someone that you are co-parenting with God. You are a co-creator. So it's simple. You have this human being. So what? You're going to tear your shirt every time someone talks to you. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You know, it's ironical how, you know, children go to school. You know, I'm an educator too, so I'm talking from an inside view.
Yes.
You have kids come to school, and some kids are really very volatile, very, you know, very violent in their responses and all of that. And of course, as a school, you will call the parents to come home. You're talking probably of a 4-year-old.
Yes.
But then again, if you want to be realistic, where's this 4-year-old seeing this? When children come, they know nothing. They don't know how to react to anything. It is the way we respond to them. It is the way they see us respond to other people, the maid in the house, your spouse, the people around you. So eventually, when they have someone who pisses them off, someone who, you know, they're angry with, they would do the same thing that they see you do when people, you know, do the same thing to you. So children are a reflection of who their parents are. They're a reflection of our responses and all of that. So yes, I was listening to a male conference today, and someone in a male conference, and he said, I mean, an angry father cannot raise a calm son. It's as simple as that. You can't raise a calm son. Let's forget all those things with they picked it. Most times they will pick their first set of behavior from their home. I like to put it this way. I say when children are born, they come with like an empty flash drive now, and they just come in and pluck it to the people in their environment. So you, the primary caregivers, you are the ones that they pluck that flash to first. So everything that your child is from 0 to about 7 is a reflection of their environment and the people you allow into their environment. So either way, it still comes down to you and how you're parenting these children.
I love it, because the truth is that I was telling some other parents recently about how children are born, you know, so kind and loving, but we need to instruct them. If not, by the time you now, you know, you're programming them with all sorts of vices, they will end up becoming, so it's, you know, yes, there's the nature we have is a good one, but as you're nurturing them, how are you nurturing them? And I like that you mentioned not only you, the parent, but the people who you allow into their space. Let's talk about that. You know, I know you don't have nannies, right?
I stopped doing nannies when my son turned 10. He's 12 now, so for 2 years.
Okay, please tell me about that philosophy. Why did you stop? And, you know, how has it been for you?
Okay, so for me, it was... I've come full cycle. So I went through all that, you know, the journey and all that. But it happened with when my second came. So by the time my second came, I had a live-in, you know, help and all that. And she was a teenager at the time. And I didn't have the knowledge that I have today. So I was at that point where I didn't understand anything about how the teenage mind works, what the poor child was going through, or the psychology, you know, of a teenager, so basically. So it was a lot of frustration. I could just see the behavior. I couldn't see the human being. So it was a lot of yelling, a lot of name calling and all of that. And then boom, my daughter started talking. She was 1 + 2, and You touch her and she will yell from, do you understand? So it was a lot of regurgitation of what
she
I was at the time. So she would yell, she would, even before she could talk, you would see her raise her finger at you and she would be like, So in the course of my parenting journey, getting knowledge, attending courses and all of that, I realized there was more happening than I realized was happening. I realized, there was a lot there, So I made up my mind. I'm like, okay, if you cannot put yourself together, if you don't have these emotions in the right place, I had started taking emotional intelligence courses and all of that. So I'm like, why am I at this, taking this journey and all of that, and I'm still falling here and there. It's just better if I deal with my triggers. So at the time, this young lady was my biggest trigger.
So you decided to
yes, and because I didn't understand that she needed me at that time. Yes, I just simply, and then of course she was at that point. Her parents were like, "If you let her," she was a teenager and her ego had come in. I had a choice. I can go, I can stay, and all of that. So at that point, we're almost on the same page, basically. You want to go, just come and
it's
go.
Okay, it works.
Just go. Let everybody rest and all of that.
And so how has it been? Because obviously, you're there raising your children alone. I was just, telling someone recently how somebody shared something online. She's a big, very popular lady that she was just saying, hey, that she just realized her children could not do anything. She told her 13-year-old to hold a mop and he did not know how to hold a mop. And she was like, hey, you don't know how to hold a mop? He had never had a reason to hold a mop. And she realized that they couldn't do much. And she had to go and start teaching them how to do chores and do all sorts of things. And it brings me to this whole issue of chores. I was talking to my son the other day, he has things he's supposed to do. He was saying, Mommy, this one I'm going to do, that means you pay me. I said, how? I said, who taught you? They said, he saw it on a TV show. I said, which comes another issue of what we allow our children watch and all of that. What do you think about that whole concept of, paying children to do chores? Shouldn't they just be adding value to the home? If I asked, I said, that means any day I cook, you should be paying me because I do things in the house. I do a lot of things. Anything I do in this house, stop paying me. And he laughed. What do you think about that? And how do you get, beyond that, how do you get your children to do chores as, and without issues? Do you have issues with them doing chores? Do they complain at all, or is it like it's now become part of them so they're fine?
Okay, so children are children. So let's not even kid ourselves to that, even as adults, even as an adult, to cook the food that you love to cook, there are times you're not just in the mood, so you as a parent need to be that realistic, right? So for me, what happened, before I come to the chore or no chore, so what happened at the point where this girl had to go was, okay, I had to make up my mind, and I'm like, okay, it's going to be me and these kids, and yes, I'm going to get people who come in and work and go, but they won't be there every day. They won't be there at night. They won't be there when we wake up in the morning. So the best thing I will have to do for all of us is to empower everybody, right? So while she was still there, I got my son to start doing stuff. Right, so he started by learning how to. So I remember this. I remember this morning. My son was about 8, and I had told him to put water on the fire, and the lighter wouldn't work. So it was just him and matches. Hey, and then he was like, I think he was just crazy. Then it dawned on me, like, he actually doesn't know how to take a matchstick and then strike it, and actually light. So we stayed there, and I went to 10. I started teaching him. I taught him, do it. Then I handed it to him, do it. Now, so basically, what happens to us a lot of times as parents, we just assume that because our children see these things happen around them, because this thing is normal, you don't have to think twice for you to do this thing. Why won't you know? Okay, so it comes down to that thing. Are you looking for perfection from your children, or you're looking for excellence in your children? Because if the goal is excellence, then you would understand that you need to teach and draw the path, or show them the path to excellence, and then you will understand that excellence is a journey. So they have to make that journey, and on that journey they'll make mistakes. On that journey it will take some time and all of that. So if that is what you have at the back of your mind, then you will be patient enough to walk them through that journey. But excellence, when perfection is the goal, you realize you're impatient.
Very true.
You are always expecting them. Your
True.
friend does this person's daughter can do it, your cousin that came here, look at your younger brother, he does it. Why can't you? You're just lazy. And before you know it, you're already churning out those negative words. You are labeling them and all of that. And then instead of the children learning to do these things happily, they become rebellious. They resent them and all of that. So that's part of it. So for my son, I had to start with the small things. So we started on Saturday. I would take the broom, he would take a broom, and I'm like, I'm sweeping this part, you will sweep that. And then of course you will see all the funny ways and all of that. So he would, so that way at a point, I would just leave him. So if it's supposed to be just a 2 minutes job, but you do it in 10 minutes, that's fine. So you have to be prepared to stay in there and be
do
patient.
It with them at first.
So you do it with them. In fact, I have a program that I run with parents, and most times when we introduce a new skill, I tell them, introduce the skill 1 whole week. The next week, do it with the child 1 whole week. That's 2 weeks. The third week, let the child do it while you're watching the prompt and all of that. Then the 4th week, step back and let them do it on their own, and however they do it, be fine with it.
Fantastic.
Be fine, as in praise even the tiniest effort that they make. Wow, look at this point, you did it so nicely. So imagine that you focus for 10 minutes, you probably get that part right next week. So it's okay, we'll try again next week. So you have to hang in there if excellence is your goal. So today, my 6-year-old, she turned 7 yesterday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. So my 7-year-old daughter washes, as in she does dishes like excellently.
Fantastic.
Now she could stay there and do what you would do for 5 minutes. She could stay there and do it for 20. But I promise you, every single dish that she does will be done like clean. She will wash, then she will run her finger across to be sure that there is no oil. If there is oil, she will not move. She will stay there and continue to streak until she goes do you understand, before she drops it and all of that.
And let me just to retrace something you mentioned about doing it with them, because one thing I've noticed, and this is even from me growing up, if you're relying on the nanny to tell your child, most times they want to get the job done quickly, and your child is slowing them down. They'll say, let him do this. Sometimes they might do it, they might do what you said, but most times they'll just be like, let me just do this thing quickly. It's better when you, the mother or the father, is actually showing them what to do and going through the process with them. It's more effective. That's what I've seen. It's like the same thing with this language learning thing. I remember my mom had these girls that she hired who only spoke Igbo. She said, speak Igbo to my children. They'll say they can speak Igbo. They'll say, now why? They hear you. Akuko. Me that I want to learn English inside township, they will not speak any Igbo to us. So things you want to do with your children is more effective when you're doing it yourself. So with this chore thing, you need to devote time. That's what I've seen, to actually talk them through it. And sometimes you start, the other recently I was trying to get my children to cook more, and what we're doing was that every Sunday you would do this, and my husband would say, this one he didn't make it wise. I know, but they're going through that process. So the one they did well, encourage them. The one you tell them, okay, it's a bit soggy, but next time, and you see that confidence is growing, and they'll get better and better. So be patient. Don't expect perfection in parenting and in life. There's really no perfection. Okay, but just try your best to get it. Like if you can do it, fair, good, better, that is how it keeps on going.
Yeah. It actually gets better with time. And the difference between you doing it yourself and nanny or whoever doing it with them is the motivation behind it.
Of course.
If there is no goal, they don't have a goal behind it. As far as they're concerned, you just want them to, I'm talking about the nanny or whoever. So there's no goal behind it, there's no motivation, there's nothing. She does, the outcome, she does doing that and all of that, but you know what you're doing. So you know that there's learning happening here. You know that, So basically, in fact, it's like when you're teaching children how to cook, you know that there are like 1,001 skills that your children can learn from just cooking. I mean, the best way to teach executive functioning skills is through cooking. Because right there in cooking, they are making decisions. Right there in cooking, they are using self-control, right? Working memory. They're able to take past experience and then use it to make new, add it to their new experiences and use it to create a new outcome and all of that. So while they're there, they're learning patience. They're learning how to. So it's a lot that is going there while your children are cooking. So if you have this at the back of your mind, then you will not see cooking like you won't see it like a chore, or you won't see it like punishment. It's because we don't think these things through. We're not intentional about our parenting. That's why you will see people will say something like, I have a cook, why do I have to stress my child? Or they have exams. That one is the one that just turns me, as in it just knocks me off. Like, you have exams, so every other thing should drop pause. I came back from, I came back with the kids from school the other day, and I had to rush to the market to do something. And then I came back, and my son was sitting in front of the computer, and this was like 6 o'clock. We cook at 6. So it was like a few minutes past 6. I go to the kitchen with both my kids when we're cooking. And then he was sitting down there, and I'm like, Gwemi, how far? We're not making dinner. And he's like, I am studying. I'm like, Nima, I'm studying. You think I don't have things to study? No. That isn't. We don't teach children that because you have school, every other thing is not important. I told my son the other day, I said, you see this school, I'm a graduate. Your father is a graduate. You don't see us on our road where we're going. I did science, so I'm not walking about and I'm like, chemistry I'm not talking chemistry on the road. Neither is your father talking architecture. He's not walking and drawing things in the sky. No, at the end of the day, after everything, you're going to take all that knowledge and you're going to put it into living a balanced life. So it's your school is going to reflect in the way you connect with people. It's going to reflect in how you do in your kitchen. It's going to reflect in how you do how excellent you are in the outputs, for everything that you do. So finally, chore, you can't raise children today without having them do chores. What are you talking about? Children need to do chores. As soon as your child can stand on their feet on their own, then they need to wake up with a sense of responsibility.
I do this. I was talking to my friend, sorry to interrupt you, he was just saying, in fact that was, he would just say, every day, even he's 6-year-old, he has what he does every day. Because for me, I would say, they're going to school, let's say, after school. But like my husband would say, there's some children that wake up at what time, and they do have to do their job before they can even think of going to school.
There's another part. You can even make up your mind. Something. I mean, that's where the working memory comes. That's where the making decisions, right? And beginning task, right? That's where initiating task and all of that's where it comes in, right? The fact that something, I have 1 to 3 things to do, let me do 2 right now and do the other 3 later. That's fine. So my son, he doesn't have to clean his room and do everything, provided you wake up and you remember to stretch the bed and all that. And I'm like, your room, and he's like, it's okay, mom, I'll do the other part when I come in. That's fine.
At least your bed is made before
you
you
go to school. When you come, so I just push every other thing. I tell him, let's just make sure your room is not an eyesore. I want to come into this room and not run back. Okay, however you want to do it is fine afterwards. However you want to do it is fine afterwards. But that sense of responsibility has to be taught from home. Our children need to wake up with a sense of responsibility every day. We cry about how children are entitled today. We cry about how the ones that resume in our workplaces cannot get off their phones. We cry about how children are redundant. We cry how they are attacked, or what do you call it? They binge on TV and binge on video games and binge on all of these things every day. The thing is, it's because you don't have a sense of responsibility. No, even you as a parent, if you like binge from morning till night, when you know there's school fees to be paid in September, you will wake up and look for money. Do you understand? Honestly. You will wake up. The men who pay the fees, I don't think they just binge on their phones and do you understand? For single mothers, I'm sure there are very few single mothers that will wake up and just move around because they have responsibilities. So we need to teach it from when these children are young. Let them wake up with a sense of responsibility. So my daughter takes the trash out. She takes the trash out.
I like that. Sorry to interrupt, but I like that because a lot of people, but they raise us with this gender role. So the boys deal with the trash, the girls wash the plates. But I love it. Everybody is doing everything. Everybody is doing everything. So it doesn't. Trash is not like my daughter. Go and put on the gen. I remember the first time I told my mom, I said no. If she's at home alone, she should put on the gen. She should put it up. I'm not going to say because the boys enter the kitchen as well. So everybody is going to do the things that need to be done.
Absolutely. Okay, so you asked about the chore part and all of that.
Yes.
Okay, so my son runs a program, right?
Yes,
he
yes,
runs
I know
a
about
program
that
for young children, 8 to 13. It's called the Mastermind.
Yes.
So in the Mastermind, I'm matron, so I show up, from time to time and all of that.
As the big mama.
As the big mama, so I'm the one who does the advice and all of that, following up, because he doesn't do phones and all that. So he has designated time.
That's another thing for another day. We talk about that whole screen free thing later. We'll
so he has designated time for when he comes, do his Mastermind, and then walk away, and that's it for the phone. So I do all the follow-ups and all of that. So what we do, or what we say to the kids, right? You are a member of the team. The family is the first team where you are going to work. The family is the first team that you will have in your life. So you have to cherish it first of all, and you have to honor family, isn't it? Now, to honor family and to honor your team, it means that you must bring something to the table. Daddy goes to work every day so that he can pay your fees. Mommy is working here too, and she's doing her part. What are you bringing to the table?
Love it.
Right? And it doesn't have to be money always. It doesn't have to be money always. And
what's your
contribution? So what's your contribution? So I say to them, like this holiday, that's what they're doing. Have a conversation with your parents and then agree on what it is. Agree with them. So that's another thing parents need to do. Bring your children into that conversation. What do you think you can do? My daughter started throwing the trash a few months ago, because I said to her, you're going to be 7. 7 is the year of completion. You're going to be complete physically. You're not a baby anymore. Toddlership is over. So we need to move away from just cleaning the tops. So in the past, she would dust all the surfaces in the house and all of that. So now we need to a bigger girl. So we need to add something to that and all of that. So we looked around and she's like, can I throw the trash? So she actually,
she chose
that task. So can I throw the trash? And so I went behind the house and decommissioned the trash outside the house. The big dustbin outside. So we decommissioned it. So every time we're done, the one in the kitchen, every time it's done, she ties the bag and she goes outside. So every time she ties the bag and she goes outside and all of that. So just so that she knows. So at every point during the course of the day, you're looking at, because I want a point to come where I don't have to say to you, the trash is full. You should be able to initiate that task. It's executive functioning. You should be able to understand and then do that on your own, basically. So that's where we're trying to go to. We're not there yet, but that's where we're going to, basically. So now, after the child has picked that, now for this holiday, we said to the kids, those 10 and below, you would have to look for a task in the house that ordinarily your parents will pay people to do, or your parents will inconvenience themselves to do. Then you will offer them, you will write them a proposal offering to do that task. They have to be willing to pay you for it. So let's say, for instance, mommy will wash her car. So you don't even know how to wash car, so you have to go to Uncle Musa and tell him to teach you from now till summer, so that by the time summer holiday comes, you now know how to wash the car, and then you can now wash it. So yes, you cannot do a deal. Uncle Musa washes it 3 times, you will wash it 1 time. However, your parents will be glad to, even if they are still paying, at least they'll be glad to pay something for that kind of thing. So yes, the chore that you pay the children for has to be something that you would normally pay for, or something that you're just creating because you have a goal. You have a goal at the back of your mind.
I want to, like washing plates.
Yes, not at all. So your chore, we don't pay you for your chore. It's you being a part of the family. But the extras is what we now pay.
Okay, that makes sense. That I can deal with. I think I'm on the same page, with you on that. Now you're talking about, I'll go to give you my own example, because I have children. Like I have one in uni now and the other 3 at home. So I got them at a point. Draw up your timetable for your chores, especially when there's nobody in the house. So the chores differ when there's no one at all. Like when the nanny goes on holiday, there's more to do in the house, obviously. So draw up your chore list. But then the issue is now that one person has not left the house. You now have to now keep on redesigning the chore list and whatever.
It's an ongoing concern.
We continue.
Parenting is that we wake up every day. It's an ongoing concern. Every day we're topping, as if we're topping, whatever we do, we're adding to it, whatever we do. Let me tell you something, that happened. What's today? Today's Saturday. It happened on Thursday.
Okay.
Thursday, I feel like a bad mom. Yeah, I mean, weekend, I don't know. But on Thursday was my daughter had to pick her stuff for she decided to have a party in school.
Okay.
And then of course pack small thing for her friends
yes.
and all of that. So I told her the budget. That's another thing, financial knowledge.
Yeah.
I don't joke with that with the children.
Fantastic.
So we start having that early.
Oh, I love it.
Okay, so I said to her, okay, this is the budget for gifting for your
birthday.
friends and all of that. So we'll go together and you have to pick it. But this is the budget and these are the category of things we want to put. So we'll have snack, we'll have sweets, we'll have something they can keep for a bit, and all of that. So we went out and all of that. So we got back home. Like past 8 something. So I called my son, he actually called, using the gatesman's this thing. So he called and he's like, how far? We're not here yet and all of that. I'm like, yeah, we're not. Have you cooked? And he's like, no. I'm like, what time is it? It's like 7 something. You have not cooked. You're not going to eat today.
There's no food.
And he's like, I'm like, you are not eating today. He said, yeah, I was wondering when you guys come. I said, okay, I don't know when we're coming. And I'm not even going to put a foot in that kitchen when I come here. So that's it. So by the time we got home, he was cooking.
Wow.
He had cooked rice and he was making the sauce. But he was making the sauce and going to his computer. Like he was working. He was preparing for school presentation. So he had to prepare his lines and all of that. Okay. So he was off and on and all of that anyway. So at some point I got here, I was inside, and then he came and said food was ready. Me and I went outside, tomato was black. And I went outside, tomato was black. I'm like, I don't understand. This is how you will honor your parents. You will actually put this for us to eat. And it's different if it doesn't taste it, but this is black. It's obviously black. So I was like, what happened? They said it got burnt. You should have told me, okay, but this is it. I'm like, but there's no problem now. We cook another stew. So at this point, he was like,
I'm tired.
He was like 2-9. I'm like, we cook another stew. Daddy was not at home and all of that. So it's not a problem. So we do pounded tomato because do ice put the tomatoes. So I went back inside. I had work to do. I had to party pack and all that. I'm like, cook tomato. So anyway, he did. And he made another stew. And he finished like close at like 10 o'clock and all of that. The stew was not very cooked, everything. So the father came, I was like, this is raw now. I'm like, chop like that. And like,
just it out.
Like, chop like that. The boy has cooked and all that. But basically, he did that. Now, the message I was trying to send is, it's this. You won't always have us there. You won't always have people there. What is supposed to be done? Do it anyway.
Just get it done.
Just get it done.
Supposing there are no phones to even call.
Do you understand? Just get it done anyway. You don't need people to eat food. You need to, well, you're not hungry. You're hungry. Eat food because you need to eat food, not because, do you understand, and all of that. Then at the end of the day, you don't have to be perfect. If it's not good, fix your mess. Like, fix your mess. And then he did, and he ate, he enjoyed it. This is good, so he enjoyed it. But basically, we need to learn, as much as we love our children, especially the boys, we need to learn not to keep saving our boys. That's what we do. We keep saving our boys. So they're entitled. When you finish saving them, the next thing, a woman somewhere will have to save them in the future. And so you see men who are constantly looking for people to save them. It's because we started saving them from home.
Moms, dads, we have plenty work. You've heard it from the mentor mom. We need to help these children, our boys, our girls, because the truth is that they're going to go into and have their own families. And you think about what you're setting their spouse up for when you keep on saving them. I was speaking about the other day about allowing our children to even fail. Look, you didn't do well, but you can correct your mess. What next? Don't that burnt stew, that black stew does not define him. It doesn't make him a failure. You just look at that one.
I had to struggle with it, but I said to myself, in 12 years, if he sleeps late for one day in 12 years, it's all right.
It's okay. It's all right. Marybeth, honestly, I wish we could continue with this because it's been so much fun having you here. And Marybeth is someone who has really encouraged me a lot, when it comes to this whole idea of parenting. My children are older than her children for the most part, but she has done her homework and she has a lot to share. So please connect with her whenever you have time. Marybeth, any final words on how we can be mentor parents? Because like you said, whether we like it or not, we are. How can we be the most effective and the best mentors for our children?
All right, so for me, it's going to be for every time, have that control within yourself that you can pause for a minute and ask yourself, is this what I would want my child to do given the situation? If this what I would like my child to sound like given the situation? Because in truth, you are the first beneficiary of the kind of child that you raise.
Preach it.
Good, bad.
Now you go chop her first.
We chop it first. So you see all those, leave me alone. That's you already chopping it. You know, that's you already chopping it. That thing that your children are out of your house and you are constantly calling. You call 10 times in a day. You think is love, is a lie. It's fear. It's fear. So you don't want to be a parent that is afraid when your children leave your door. So do what you have to do. Do
what you have to do today to give your children a better tomorrow. So that when you are, doing all those wonderful things you want to do, you plan to do, you have peace. You will not be afraid.
Yes.
As your child is in university, sending him to Canada, USA, wherever you're sending him to.
Yes.
Even right there in Lagos, wherever you are, you have peace because you know you've equipped them to the best of your ability.
Yeah.
Look, the truth is that there's no perfection in parenting. You can only try. Sometimes even when you try, you may see yourself that you'll be like, this is the child I raised, but they will come back to those things you've taught them one way or the other. So let's keep on trying our best. Let's keep on doing what we can. And Marybeth, thank you once again for being with me.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thanks to everyone who joined us today. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and like. And don't forget that God will help. At the end of the day, Jesus will help.
Yes.
Christ at the center of it all. He gives us them. It's like there's something she said I can't get over. We are co-parenting with him. He gave us these children. So talk to him. Let him help you as you raise these children, and he sure will give you the wisdom that you need for each day. Thank you so much.